Mallory, first off, I saw that you got to update your Twitter bio recently to senior. So congrats on the upgraded position. I
Thank
was
you.
curious what the biggest lessons you learned from working on Before the Storm that you're really able to apply in True Colors. I've always liked the writing in the games, but it almost feels slightly more mature here, a little bit more consistent throughout. I was really impressed with the writing.
Yeah, I think mature is a good word to use. We thought about, you know, Alex was going to be a bit older than our prior Life is Strange antagonists, protagonists, and we thought a lot about what that meant, and we really decided that we wanted the series to sort of grow up with its players, and Max is 18 in the first game, which came out six-ish years ago now, and so we knew that the core audience that really clicked with Life is Strange themselves were growing older, and we wanted to tell a more mature story that they could continue to apply to their lives. So we chose a young adult who's getting a new start in a new place, and I think that's a fairly common experience, and it's a scary experience that I think everyone can relate to and learn from.
Katy, Steph was so well received in Before the Storm, but did you ever think that she would wind up playing such a key role in a future game and then get her own DLC as a protagonist? It's been wild to see, this character just be embraced so naturally from the fans and then, glow up here.
Yeah, not at all. I had no idea this was going to be happening 4 years later. I'm just so incredibly grateful to have been given the opportunity to, alongside with Deck 9, to be able to bring and breathe life back into Steph. And yeah, the response from the fans has just been amazing and so heartwarming. And it's just so nice to see that she's being well received.
Mallory, Steph being from Arcadia Bay and going to Blackwell Academy brings some really great connective tissue from the prior games into True Colors. And this DLC will see some other familiar faces pop up. We get to see an update from Mikey, which was really cool callback for, Before the Storm fans. How fun was it to revisit some of those characters again and, give little life updates, even if they're not the focus?
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh, it was just so much fun. And we knew that Rachel and Chloe know Steph, and that Chloe has hung out with Steph, and that they have played tabletop together, they trade DVDs, and so they're friends. And we wanted to really look at Steph as a full character with these friends in her past and experiences that surround them and those memories, and so thinking about the things that they could have done together and how they would have interacted in those circumstances, and then crafting those little moments to stick into Wavelengths was really fun for us. We're really excited to bring some of those familiar faces back, and I think players are really going to enjoy it.
Katy, how was the process like doing a performance capture? I thought it added so much subtlety to all the characters. Yeah. It felt so much more natural. And do you feel even more authorship over the performance now that it's your own movement?
Yeah, it was my first time ever doing full performance, and it was so awesome. And just being able to play it and watch it, it just looks incredible. It is incredible. Deck 9, I mean, out of the park. It is just incredible. And I think as an actor, being able to perform everything, body, face, voice, it just brings, a more genuine performance. And I think that, when you play the game, you see that with all of the performance actors. It's just, you're able to connect. It's the same person. You're living in that person, in that scene entirely. And it's going into the game like that. And I think, yeah, I think it just looks amazing.
Mallory, in this type of DLC, similar to Before the Storm, it's more grounded. There's no real superpowers. So how does that change your writing? When you're playing as Alex, you're going to get people's thoughts. You're going to have these these sort of supernatural elements. In a DLC like this, where, it's much more grounded, does your writing change any, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, I think the writing definitely changes. but I think Steph sort of does have superpowers in her creativity and confidence. So in writing Alex, we know that we can, create this content around hearing people's thoughts and helping them work through little blocks in their lives or big blocks in their lives. But for Steph, instead of it being, people's thoughts or little blocks, we wanted those, those bits of content are like the dating app and a little tabletop game that you can play with Mikey. You get to learn a little bit about how she and Ethan clicked so well and became so close. So I think, the approach is definitely different, but we sort of look at the content as a whole and craft it uniquely for basically every scene of every chapter, including the DLC.
Katy, and before the storm, Steph's 16, and there's been so much character development that goes on, behind the scenes, and we're going to get to see a little bit of that here. But, did that extra maturity for the character alter how you play her any?
Yeah, I mean, definitely being able to figure out how to bring life into an older Steph, was something that we all had to work for and work with. And it was fun. It was fun. It's cool to be able to see her older. It's cool to be able to breathe life into a character with so many more emotions that the player gets to understand and feel. And especially with the DLC, you get to learn so much more about all the things because you now hear her internal monologue. You hear, not only her confidence, but her insecurities, her excitement, her fears, everything. And so there's just so much more to her, and it's really exciting.
Mallory, what I loved about True Colors is that players really get as much as they put into the game, and there's so many small storylines that can be missed if you're not exploring different details, looking for the collectibles. And how do you balance that writing, knowing that a lot of players might overlook key details? Like my gaming editor, he just played through the game as well, and he was like, "Oh, it's a bit weird how Gabe wound up in the city where his father was." And I was like, "Oh, did you not see him making amends?" So he just missed a few story details, and he kind of missed out. So how do you balance that and making sure they get the core story while also being able to explore and flesh things out?
Yeah, I guess the answer is you try really hard. We obviously really want to ensure that the path that every player, even the ones who aren't particularly inclined to take their time and explore every single detail, still get a story that holds together and makes sense and has all of that emotional impact. But at the same time, we also knew that this was going to be a game about building community and building a home. And that's something that you sort of have to put effort into. You have to seek people out and see how they're doing and try to help them. And so we wanted the structure of the game to sort of reflect that effort in building community. So hopefully we struck the right balance, and that even folks who go straight and narrow through the game still get the full experience. But at the same time, if you do build yourself a little community, we wanted that experience to be really rewarding in its own right as well.
Yeah, like I got a kick out of just seeing the ice cream shop like morph over time. Like that was so much fun. So Katy, being one of two romance options in the game, is it almost like competitive? Are you glad that more people chose Steph in their first playthrough?
Not at all. I think Ryan is such a great character as well. I mean, he has such a great arc. He's well written. I mean, playing it personally, I really love Ryan too. And there was times where I wanted to romance Ryan. I just told myself, I wanted to romance Steph first. I'm going to do my Ryan playthrough next. But no, Ryan and Steph are both amazing options. And I think whatever the player decides to choose for themselves is the right choice. And I think it's great that you're given that option, and you might not even want to romance any of them, so you have your options, and I think that's amazing.
Is it a bit odd romancing yourself?
No, I feel like I'm able to romancing myself. So it's easy for me, I guess. I don't know, I've seen it so many times and I've played it now that I can just I can disconnect, and detach from Steph. She's Steph. Yes, it's my voice, yes, it's my body and my face, but I don't know, as an actor, I'm just able to detach from it and just play the game and just see her as a character in Haven Springs. And just me personally as a gamer, I enjoy her as a character. I think she's well written, and yeah.
Mallory, what have you taken most from the feedback? It's been so positive, but what has really struck you from fans just getting to play through True Colors and really enjoy it?
Um, I mean, gosh, we hope so hard that everyone enjoys the stuff that we make, and when they do, it's always such a relief. I think you asked what surprised me the most.
Yeah, if there was any surprising feedback, if something stood out that you didn't really think would really resonate with players, but it really did.
Oh, it's been fun to see people diving into all of the my block content, because there's actually quite a bit of stuff in there, and it is kind of a lot of reading. We weren't sure how many people were really going to get in there, but it's been super fun to see the folks that take the time and read through it find fun, interesting content that they want to talk about. That's been super fun to see.
Katy, Steph's such a fun character. The D&D, she's very free spirited. What part of her character really resonates with you the most?
I think just that she just is so true to herself. We get to experience so much more with her, besides just that cool, like, nerdy, confident person that we met in BTS, and we've already learned that a little bit in True Colors, and we get to learn that more. But yeah, she just really is true to herself, and she's just a rock for a lot of people. If you have Steph on your side, you're good. She's there for you, and you get to see that in True Colors as well. And I think, yeah, it's just really awesome that you can have a trustworthy friend in her.
And then Mallory, my last question here. I was really impressed with True Colors, how it does have those nods to the past games, but it definitely doesn't rely on nostalgia. It works as a standalone story. But longtime fans do get those nods and winks, and they get a real kick out of it. What is that balancing act? And like, sometimes do you feel like, oh, it would be cool to throw out in some extra nods, but it wouldn't really make sense? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, all of the Life is Strange titles exist in the same universe, right? So we wanted to make sure that that was just apparent. That it is a standalone game, but we're not running off and pretending that we don't have a history or a legacy, and that the fan community that we have didn't come from somewhere. We really like to acknowledge sort of where the franchise started, and keep those roots really at the front of our minds as we're making it. And so we like to put in nods as often as they make sense. Yeah.
Great. Thank you both for your time today. I love the game. Can't wait to play the DLC. Thank you so much.